Alright guys, welcome back to Brian Ninja, another A&W review. Hopefully you can see me with the sun and hopefully you can hear me over the cars. I'm not sure. We might have to refilm this. I really hope not. But I wanted to go for a walk today and do this at the same time. I thought it'd be kind of cool. So we're going to do that today. But I feel kind of out of my element. But hopefully this I'll get used to it as we go. But we're going to review American Ninja Warrior Season 17 Episode 3. Which I thought was pretty good. I wasn't sure at first, but I ended up liking it. So yeah, I'm going to get into the course and explain my overall opinions and ninjas and all that. So first up we have the quad steps. Obviously they're fine as usual. Then we have the lunatic ledges, which are back for what feels like the millionth time. It's probably like the 5th time, but it feels like they've been there a million times. And they're definitely getting old, but they still take people out, so they're not too bad. It's kind of repetitive. I wish it's like a bit different, but as we know, there's not really new obstacles this season, it seems like. So unfortunately we have more kind of recycled ones, but it's not that bad. Then we have the log runner again. Speaking of recycled from last week, again, it's the only returning, like the only interchangeable obstacle that didn't change this week. So I don't mind it too much because it's just one. So the log runner is fine and it's pretty tough. So that, unlike the spin cycle where they repeated that one and it was kind of everyone made it through or most people made it through, the log runner is tough. So it's at least a point of tension. So if they're gonna reuse an obstacle, why not reuse one that's more like that? So I'm happy with that. Sorry, I keep repeating the same thing twice. I don't know why. I can't talk. But then the 4th obstacle is crank it up with only 2 cranks. It's like the semifinals version. Which makes sense, especially with like the whole time thing where it's what do you call it, where you have to clear the course at a certain time to do the mega wall. So it makes sense that it's a 2 crank version and it's a bit easier. Also as the 4th obstacle, it kind of alternates between 4th and 5th obstacle. It makes sense that the 4th obstacle version would be the easier one because you still have the 5th obstacle after it. I need to drink something, I guess, because my throat was really dry. I can't talk. But the 5th obstacle is V formation, which is kind of the hodgepodge obstacle. We have to ratchet up this like V-shaped grip, this triangular V-shaped grip, up these like ratchets, and they lock into place. And you have to go down on these V-shaped like handles. They're upside down V's basically, and they wobble, and there's 2 on each side, so you go back and forth. And you can skip them if you want, but you have to grab the last one. It's kind of like a hot mess obstacle, and there's a ledge in between. It's kind of all over the place, but it's not too bad. It's just kind of weird, but it's fine. I probably wouldn't have brought it back, but it's not too bad. Then you have the warp wall, and to finish the course, to do the mega wall, you have to finish it under 1:10. So it's a bit easier than last time because it's 1:10 instead of a minute. So I see they made an adjustment for this course because I think this course is a lot more time consuming even than last week. The Ferris wheel last week was pretty long, but this week you have the crank it up, which takes a while, and V formation, which takes a while, and the lunatic ledges can take a minute. But mostly the ladder, the crank it up and V formation take a while. So I kind of see why they added 10-second thing, so I'm glad they accounted for a difference to make it like fair to the different courses. So yeah, my arm is getting tired because I have to hold my phone. So this, hopefully we make it through the video. This will be a good encouragement to go fast today. But yeah, overall I like this episode because it's a lot of obstacles I feel like they're returning for the 1000th time, and a lot of obstacles I'm not thrilled with. Like the lunatic ledges is kind of like not my favorite. The log runner is really overused, or not overused, but used a lot. And then like crank it up has appeared a lot, and V formation is kind of again like not my favorite. So yeah, for what I think about the obstacles, the episode came together well. I think it came down to the fact that they showed a lot of different fails. Like you had some fails on the 1st obstacle, some on the 2nd, some on the 3rd. Not too many on crank it up, but there was a couple I think. So you got a good variety this time, which I feel like was more than last week. So that made it more interesting to watch. Because I think last week had a lot of like 5th obstacle fails, and it was mostly log runner and Ferris wheel fails. This week had a more even spread, which was kind of different, so I liked it. But we're going to get into our runs here. First up, we have Emily Gardner, who her profile is about how energetic she is and how she like yells between obstacles and gets excited between obstacles, which is cool, but also can be bad for your run because you can go slower. So I get it, you'd be excited to be on TV, but it could be bad for your time. But that's like her profile piece and like characteristic. So again, for the profile pieces, I don't mind it because at least it's about the course and about ninja. So I don't mind that piece. Just kind of, I think we've had that before, but it wasn't too bad. Then my paper is crinkled. She made it to the 5th obstacle, which we keep seeing with the first run of the night. They always make it to the 5th obstacle, and then she fell at V formation. It spun out from her on I believe the 2nd V, the 1st or 2nd. Then we have Mac Rush, who's the king, and they did this whole story of like, oh, he used to be the king, he came back. I believe he debuted in 2016. He's making a big comeback, a royal comeback. And unfortunately, he fell the quad step, so that was a very disappointing run for him. The king has fallen on the 1st obstacle, so that was surprising. Like I said though, it was kind of unpredictable, and I like that they showed a quad step fail in full, because I was not expecting that. That actually got me when he failed the 1st obstacle. I was like, that was surprising. So I'm glad they kind of keep it interesting by showing that, showing something different rather than just like the 5th obstacle, 3rd obstacle. I'm glad they're mixing it up more this time. Then we have Nick Hansen, who played rugby. He says rugby's gonna be in the Olympics in 2028. At least he hopes it will. I don't really know about rugby. I don't know how it works, but I think it's like football, but with like a stick, I believe. But don't quote me. But it seems okay, I guess. So good for him on that. He barely cleared the Lunatic Ledges. He kind of like fell forward onto the platform, but he didn't even get his full body on there. But luckily he made it through. And then unfortunately he stepped short on the third vlog runner, and he missed, and he fell into the water, which we saw a lot of last week and a little bit of this week. So he failed the log runner. Then we had Christian Hart, who's this kid. He used to be on all the sidelines of Ninjas. Like he's been in the background of almost every Ninja episode because he's consistently on the sidelines of like most big competitors. So that's kind of a cool story. I wish I had that story because I want to go on more tapings, but logistically that's pretty hard. So it's impressive that he's been to so many sidelines, and now he's been on the course and he had an impressive run. What happened here? Okay, on the V formation, he got one hand on the middle ledge, which is pretty impressive. He's hanging by one arm, a subtle flex, as I said, to be able to do that. But it's also to shake out his grip, but that is definitely like something that would be hard to do in itself. So that was cool. And when they showed that one arm hang, you can also see that the V formation, the middle ledge between the two parts, is like rounded, which looks tough to hold on to. Usually it's like a really fat ledge when they do a cliffhanger, but that actually looked tough because it was like a rounded, like kind of like semicircle that you have to hang from. That looked really tough to me. I'm surprised that they did that because usually they kind of put like a secretly really thick ledge there to make it easier, but this time it looked pretty tough. So respect to him for hanging from that because that looked hard. Respect to A&W for not putting an easy ledge. I appreciate that from them. I'm surprised. I put too much information. He failed the dismount where he got onto the platform but he touched the water, so that was unfortunate because the platform's right next to the water, and unfortunately he just kicked it. So that was a sad way to go out. He knew he could have done it. Like in theory, he could have cleared the obstacle, but unfortunately he was just a bit short, and he just missed. And he almost hit his head on two parts on the lunatic ledges. He almost hit his head on the bar of the second board, and also on the crank it up, he almost hit his head on the bar at the end of the obstacle. So that's weird. He's like swinging too far, which we've seen before this season, where he like goes too far, and you can tell immediately like, oh, he's got his head if he's not careful. But luckily he comes up with his hands. But yeah, that was interesting. Scary. Be careful. Then we had a fast forward of a guy whose name I didn't get, unfortunately, because I was watching on the Hulu thing and I missed it. But a guy who got stuck on the lunatic ledges for 2 minutes, which is interesting to me because it brings up a question of like, how long will they let that go on for? Because in theory, the lunatic ledges, you kind of just stand there all day if you wanted to. Because, I mean, not all day, but like you could stand on that for a while because it's like a solid platform. It swings, but it's still a solid platform, so I don't think it'll be too hard to stand on. So it's kind of one of those things where I think that's one of the reasons I don't love the lunatic ledges, because you can't stand there. In theory, there's kind of no way to like fail it if you don't quit. You don't lose your grip, you don't lose your balance. You just kind of hang there. You can be on there forever, which is kind of like weird for an obstacle. I feel like I'm switching hands. My arms are too weak for this video. But yeah, that's kind of weird. But I was wondering, like, did he stay on there for over 2 minutes? They didn't show it obviously the whole thing, but he was. So that makes you wonder, like, how long did they let it go on for? Because say if 10 people do that, that will delay the filming by quite a bit. So there's definitely something interesting about that. Like, I'm curious if the producer was yelling at him to get off, because at some point they'd probably be like, you know, next. Because if that goes on long enough, that'll take a while. But that was interesting. We've had that before, and some people have saved it, but he did not save it. He missed the jump. That's unfortunate. Then we had Ethan Gradolski, who trained with Philip Scott, who's another ninja on the show, who started to coach him. And I believe they both have autism and anxiety. So that's a cool bonding thing, and cool that they will have that. And I know Philip Scott from the Sasuke Mania forums. He probably doesn't know me, but I know him because I see him on there. And he's cool. He's been a fan for a long time. So it's cool that he worked with Ethan and they have a good connection for training. So that's really good. And Ethan ran very well. Basically his story talking about his anxiety and how training with Philip Scott helps him so much, as well as it's just getting involved in Ninja and meeting people from Ninja. So that's a really good story. Again, I like that connection to Ninja and all that. So that's cool. He ran very fast. He made it through the course. He cleared the warp wall on a second attempt, which is kind of rare to get a warp wall fail. Well, not a warp wall fail, but like a miss on the wall. So that's different. Again, something I like to see, kind of a different type of run. But overall, a very good run. He still finished really quickly, so that's cool. Then they have Michelle Warnke. I knew Michelle Warnke had a baby, but I did not realize that the baby had like complications, because the story was basically saying that the baby was born with cerebral palsy, and she struggles. You know, she has like a leg brace because everything's harder, you know, to move when you have cerebral palsy. So that's tough. I mean, being like a little kid, that's tough. But luckily, they show her walking. She gets around pretty well, and she was at the course, so that's cool. She got revenge on lunatic ledges. I mean, Michelle did, not her baby. She got revenge on lunatic ledges because she failed that in season 12. She made it through this time. I was kind of nervous, but she made it through. But then unfortunately, she failed the very next obstacle on the log runner. She really tried to save it, but unfortunately, a lot of guys save it. But with most guys are like 5'8" and up. She's a bit, I believe she's shorter than that. So she was unable to reach the logs fully to like get a good reach across the two to stand up. So she was unable to save it despite a really good effort to get back up there. So she fell on the log runner. I was really hoping she'd make it because that'd be a really cool save, but it was not in the dice, but she did, or not in the cards, but she did very well there. Then they have Philip Scott, who, as I mentioned earlier, trains with Ethan, who cleared the course previously on this episode. He used both feet on the final log of Log Runner, which is kind of rare and kind of risky because I saw it, I thought he was in trouble because usually it's like one step per log, but he's able to recover it, so that was good. Maybe not even recover, maybe it was intentional, but it looked kind of sketchy. So he made it through that. And then they said something like, when he was on Craig It Up, they're like, when he was 13, he couldn't do a pull-up. And that was when I thought like he couldn't do a pull-up when he was 13, but now he's out here running the American Ninja Warrior course. And to me, it's like, I'm guessing the majority of 13-year-olds can't do a pull-up. I know I couldn't do a pull-up till I was 12 or 13, like, and even then they were like kipping, sloppy pull-ups. And now I don't even know how many I can do. But back then it's like, like I don't think that's not like a crazy stat. Like, 'cause I think a lot of 13-year-olds can't do pull-ups. A lot of every age can't do pull-ups. So I was like, that's kind of a weird thing to say. I know it was like a comparison. I get the point they're trying to make of how much he's improved, but it's not like striking that he couldn't do a pull-up at 13, because like I couldn't. At least to me it's not striking because I couldn't. So I don't know. But that's kind of like, okay, Matt, like I don't know what that has to do with it. But he did well and he cleared the course, so that was cool. He also kind of threw on the warp wall of, he made up on the first attempt, but he was kind of like awkward on it. Maybe I'm feeling like Matt now and just criticizing for no reason. But he did very well and he cleared the course. So yeah, it was a good run. At this point we had 2 clears, I believe, unless there was some fast forwards that I skipped, which is possible because I didn't write them all down because I don't want to run out of time for this video. But yeah, Philip and Ethan have cleared at the very least. That's really good. Then they had Desmond Odom, who's a special ed teacher who's competed in the past. He's never cleared the third obstacle, so I was like, either they're saying that because he's got to clear the fail the third obstacle again, or because he's got to clear it, which I mean, I guess that's kind of like a all-encompassing assumption. But you know what I mean? Like I was like, he's either got to fail the third obstacle or clear it for the first time, and they're building up to one or the other. And unfortunately, it was building up to failing it because he failed a log runner and he missed the first step he stepped over, so he was kind of screwed from the start and he missed. So that's unfortunate. But at least he tied his record by failing the third obstacle. But he'll probably be back. So that's cool. That was a good run. Good to see him because I remember him. Then they had Spencer Johnson, who started the Change Course program, which basically gives people a second chance. Like say if they were in jail, or if they had an addiction or anything like that, or if they were homeless, or anything where they had to like restart or get like more motivation to keep going. So that's a cool program. I like the idea of that because I know Ninja, like when I'm not doing great, not in that sense, but like just when I'm not doing great, Ninja can be a good way to like feel better. So I like that idea of that program. That's really cool. I'm sure it's helped a lot of people, so I like that. It's cool to see stories like that. Like I'm not big like, oh, like feel good story background, but if it's something like that, that's cool. And I approve. So I like that story. I don't like my paper because my paper is getting too. I folded it, put it in my pocket, but now it's like, oh, I won't unfold because it's windy. Anyway, he grabbed the sides of the lunatic ledges. Instead of grabbing the bar on the second board, he grabbed like the 2 sides, which is actually kind of interesting because that could be an obstacle in its own right. I think it would be harder, but that'd be cool to see because I noticed that, and that looks like an interesting way to do it. So I think they can almost put two boards in Vegas and have the second board not have any bar to grab, and that would be interesting to see because that was actually kind of, even if you didn't mean to, that was an interesting challenge. Well, not challenge, but an interesting way to do it. So that's a new idea that I got when I saw that. If only I had a lunatic ledges replica, I'd do it. I tried that, but I don't have a replica anyway, so I can't. But yeah, that definitely got me thinking about that. Oh, I think he was the first one to go from the first to second V on V formation. He didn't try to skip the second. Most people try to skip from the first to the third, then the fourth. I think that's like the ultimate strategy. The best strategy is first to third to fourth. But he did first to second. Unfortunately, he failed the move to the fourth V. I think all the going back and forth in the V's just made him run out of grip. It's pretty hard to clear the obstacle using all 4 V's. So again, I think skipping is the better move. Skipping the second one to be exact. So yeah, but I was hoping he'd make it through because that'd be cool if he used all 4 and made it, but he couldn't. But that was a good run. Good to see that in the story. Then we had Jason Behrens, who's 4'11". He's part of a ninja family who's like his dad ran the course, his older brother ran the course. So that's cool. there's a lot of like ninja families now. I feel like all their last names start with B, which is weird. And maybe the first name in my case if I join, but I probably won't. But yeah, there's a few ninjas like the Beckstrands, the Bergstroms, the Barons. That's interesting. I think it's not like a cool like club or like the Brady Bunch type thing with the different B names. But stupid paper. I'm stalling because this paper won't unfold. Now I'm holding it across my arm so it won't close. He did all 4 V's on the V formation, which was cool. And they say he's the shortest ever clear on top of the warp wall, which is interesting that no one below 5 feet has cleared before. And I think he beat Casey Canizaro from season 6 to become the shortest clear. So now we have a 4-footer in the books, a 4'11" in the books to clear the course. So that's cool. That's a good new record. I mean, the records are kind of like a stretch sometimes, but 17 seasons being the shortest to clear is pretty impressive. So I'll accept that record. I'll accept that title. Not for me, but for him, on his behalf. Anyway, then they had Greg Justice, who's basically a writer, and he wrote a book on Jack LaLanne, who's like a fitness guy. He does a bunch of fitness stuff. He died, but Greg Justice wrote a book about him. I don't really know the connection there, which that's kind of what I was trying to figure out when I was watching his profile. Like, I don't know how he knows him. Probably as a friend, I guess, but I was like, how's this, like, why is he, like, what made him write the book? But that's really cool. Or maybe he's just a fan of Jack's work. I don't know. But that was a cool story. And then Jack LaLanne's wife basically gave a message to Greg saying, like, thank you and good luck on the course. So that was cool that they did that for him. And by the way, this Greg guy was 64, so he's like an older competitor compared to most people that go on the show. And I always like seeing the older competitors run because it's cool to see like an older contestant go for it. I love that old guy who came up with like the dentures. That was cool when they did that. So I always like when there's an older guy here. And he did not look old. He made it through the first obstacle easily. He made it through the lunatic ledges. He failed the third obstacle, unfortunately. I was hoping he'd make it through the whole course because that'd be really cool. Although I had a feeling he wouldn't, because if he did that, they probably have like teased it more. But I was really pulling for him. He made it to the third obstacle and failed, but that's a really cool run. I like that. Then they had Dylan Yee, who is like the smiling ninja. I'm saying he had like a smiley face on his shirt because he's always smiling and because people are out of gimmicks to use on this show. It's not a bad gimmick, but you know, it's kind of like, okay, like that millionth gimmick of that type. But his sister competed as well in the past, and they've been in the family championship and stuff, I believe, so that's cool. He just grabbed the bar on lunatic ledges, not the actual ledge. He like reached for it and then put his feet down, so that was cool. And he failed the log runner. Unfortunately, he like flipped. It was kind of funny, but I felt bad for him because obviously he wanted to do better. But not a bad run at all for his first attempt. The log runner is tough and gets a lot of people, so that's cool. And then they showed a What You Were Away segment with his sister, and she had the same result on the log runner, so at least they're twinning. I don't know if it's worth it, but at least they're twinning. At this point, I was like tired, so I went for a run and then went to bed. So I watched the rest of the episode this morning, and we had Ryan Stratis. After I resumed, I saw Ryan Stratis. He looked kind of like he was struggling on the crank it up, and they were commenting on it as well. And when he dropped down for the second set of cranks to the bar, you could really see he was trying to struggle like a lot. So I was nervous for him. And then when I saw him on the V formation, I could tell that he had nothing left. And he failed on the first V, I believe. Like going to the first V, he just dropped. He did not have like too much energy for that, I guess. This is a very upper body centric like last couple of obstacles, which it always is, but these crank it up's a pretty tough one and it drains you, so I'm not surprised. Then you have to go up the V formation. The first half of V formation is very upper body intensive as well, like pull up strength and stuff like that. So it's a lot of like exhausting upper body like pulling up type movements. So I could see why he struggled on that, but I was hoping he'd make it through, but it was not in the cards today. Then they had James McGrath, which was a cool like Ryan Stratis and James McGrath had a pretty retro like segment. So it was cool to see them both. They talked about he used to camp as Vandy on the show, which I remember seeing that story originally when I first started watching in like season 3 or 4. So that's cool that they referenced that again. I like the little throwback stories they're doing now because they like reward me for watching the show for this long. I'm like, oh, I remember that. It's like an Easter egg for me. Or not an Easter egg, but like, oh, I remember seeing that the first time. So that's cool. And he cleared the course. That's good to see. And he basically told Matt and Akbar, asked how he felt, and he said, oh, I feel like I've been so privileged to do this for so long, do what I love. So that was cool. I'm glad he's kept at it. He's one of the people that's been there for a long time now, and I'm really happy for him that he's been able to keep doing it. So that's cool. Then they had Jackson Ertles, who was a young ninja kid. I guess he joined me when he was 15, I believe. And he went away for a couple of years, and they said how he struggled with anxiety and stuff like that. And he basically talked about how hard it is and how crippling that feeling is. So that was, a tough story. But again, it basically said how like he was able to recover, and it was not like an easy journey. I remember he said the mountain, because the Mount Matoriyama in Vegas is 30 seconds long. He said I climbed the mountain, but it took 2 years, not 30 seconds, meaning that he overcame his anxiety and it feels, you know, doing better now. So that's good to hear. I like that quote. And he came back really strong with a 107 clear, so he beat the 110 for the mega wall, and he had a decent attempt on the mega wall. Actually, he not almost made it, but he's one of the better ones this season. Not that saying much because I feel like the attempts this season have been kind of bad, honestly. But again, who am I to say that? But he had a pretty good attempt, probably like 16.5 feet, or probably 17 feet because the wall's 18.5 now. So a very good comeback attempt, and very good to see him back and that he's doing better and all that. I don't really remember him from before because I wasn't watching the show then, but I'm glad he's doing better now. Then they had Addie Herman, who again, I'm like, I know of her, but I haven't really seen her on the show before because I haven't watched her the past few seasons. But apparently she won the women's championship, which I didn't even know existed. But that's really cool. Like I'm really out of the loop with the show, as you can tell. But unfortunately, she failed the V formation after they talked about she never cleared the fifth obstacle. So I was wondering, like, this could go either she makes it through this or she fails around the fifth obstacle. And it went that way. Unfortunately, she failed the fifth obstacle, which is a shame. But she still had a good run. She's still moving on, so all's good for her. But no buzzer in qualifying, so she's never cleared the qualifying course. So that was kind of the theme. So hopefully next season she'll get that. But at least she's moving on to the finals. And the final round of the night was Josiah Pippel, who likes lizards. Apparently he joined the show when he was 15 and now he's 19. And they talked about how he has a girlfriend now that kind of motivates him to go on the show, and it's cool to run like in front of her. So that's a cool story. And he had the fastest clear of the night. I believe it was 102. I didn't write it down because I was like kind of like finished watching it in a sense when I was doing this part because I already saw the end of the episode. But I believe it was 102 because I think it was 5 seconds faster than the previous. So that's a really fast clear. And he made a mega wall attempt. He definitely had the best one so far this season, but he still didn't make it up, unfortunately. So it's been really tough this season. I'm surprised they haven't had any mega wall clears. I'm sure they wanted 1 or 2, probably not too many because then they have to pay out too much, but they probably wanted a few at least. So I'm surprised they haven't had any. I'm sure they would like to have someone clear, and maybe they will later on in the season, but for now there's nothing. Actually, they might not even have to pay out now because I think it's Wells Fargo is doing it all. So, or Visa or something, some banking type thing is their sponsor now. So I think they're paying out the mega wall attempts this year. So probably the banking company's happy that no one's made it up, I guess. But yeah, so it was a pretty good episode. Speaking of being done with stuff, I started crumpling up my notes because I'm that much done with holding this camera. This walk is cool, but also the cars are really loud, and I feel kind of self-conscious in this setting. And I have to like hold this phone like this, and I usually have it propped up, but this time I have to like hold it with nothing below it, so it's kind of annoying to do. But I like this change. I kind of like doing it in the daytime or the evening. So it was different. But yeah, overall, I like this episode. I'd say it's better than last week. Maybe not. I'd say it's better than episode 2, not as good as episode 1. That's kind of my ranking so far. So it's my order is 1, then 3, then 2 probably so far. But they've all been fine episodes, and today's was pretty good. I'm hoping that next week, I feel like they're gonna keep one obstacle the same again. I'm guessing just by the trend they've been doing. So hopefully they keep the. Let me think about this. I don't want the log runner again because that's been there twice already. I don't really want Craig it up back because it didn't do too much damage. Maybe, not. You know what? I'd keep the lunatic ledges because I don't love them, but they're kind of. I want to see a new 4th and 5th. And we see a bunch of new 5th obstacles already, so they'll probably keep V formation because they've already changed that every time. They've had a new 2nd and 5th obstacle every week. Well, not new, but like different. So there's probably be one of those 2 again that they'll keep, or maybe both even at this point. I don't know. Next week could be all the same obstacles again for all I know, or like from the previous weeks because I don't know what it is. But hopefully we have a couple of different ones at least, and maybe a new one, but I kind of doubt it at this point because we haven't had any new obstacles so far this season. But yeah, hopefully something different. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. I say it's pretty good. The show really cranked it up a notch this week. Get it? That probably is giving me my title because I have no idea what the title of this video. So I thought of that. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Peace out.